everyone. It's Kim from Expressions of the Universe with your weekly wisdom for August 19th through the 25th. It feels like a small eternity since we've talked, since I've done a weekly wisdom video, and I think I only took 1 week off, and that was the first time ever in more than 3 years. This week, I am going to do the cards. I'm going to do them first, but I also want to talk about cycles and seasons and phases, because I know that we're in this crazy energy, and I'm personally trying to make sense of it all and get a grip. I know I am not the only one out there experiencing the craziness of the universe and this world that we're in. And so I think that that's what I'm going to discuss today. Maybe it'll shed some clarity for all of us about life in general. I want to give you some good wisdom that I've gathered over the last week or so to help me cope and deal with everything that's going on. But first, let's do the cards and take a little sip of my tea. So keep calm and carry on. That's kind of the motto of the time right now. Almost impossible to do. That's good. Hibiscus tea. Delish. It's also awesome iced. It's by Tazo, in case any of you wanted to know. So I haven't done the little black bag for quite some time, and I want to do that today. And I better get a good topic, because if I don't, and I don't feel like talking about it, if it doesn't go with the theme, then I'm not going to, or I'll pick another one. Let's see. Okay. This is really good. Okay. I can deal with this one. It's truth. Truth is the theme. My nails are uber nasty. All my nails are breaking, and I don't even give a shit. I just don't even have the emotional capacity to sit in a salon with people. I'm trying to get this lighting right so it's not too dark, but truth. I think we're all seeking truth right now. We're wanting truth to everything that's going on. Maybe I will have some truth for you in my discussion topic. Something that we can all, utilize in this wisdom. So I drew from 2 different decks because I didn't know what I wanted the energy to be. I wanted to see what resonated, and they kind of all match up. So I'm using the Wisdom Oracle from Colette Baron Reed and the Enchanted Map deck, and I'm putting them together. So the first card that I came out with is Not For You. And let me see if I could switch sides to get better lighting. So Not For You came up, and then the Wizard of Awareness, but he's reversed. And what these are saying to me, and they go so well together, is that we're trying to make things happen in our lives. We're trying to push things to go a certain way. And this is going to go great with my topic of cycles and seasons and phases. And sometimes some things are not meant for us. This Wizard of Awareness in reverse is saying you're not paying attention to the signs, you're not getting the message, you're not hearing it clearly enough. Stop trying to make things happen that aren't meant for you. And that is the message for that. Then midweek, I have Unfinished Symphony, and it's in reversed. And then I have Listening in reversed. So what this is also saying, Unfinished Symphony in reverse is telling us to tie up loose ends. Take care of the stuff that's already here. Take care of the bills and the clutter and any kind of projects that might be lingering around that we just haven't gotten to. We really need to wrap things up because we're moving into another phase. Things are shifting, as if you didn't know already. And then the Listening in reverse, it has 2 meanings actually. One is that you are not listening, you're not paying attention. Another part of that not for you, and the Wizard of Awareness in reverse. But this is also saying that if you're not being heard, it's time to speak up and let people know how you feel and where they stand with you, who has crossed the line. You know, this is saying it's time for us to put up those boundaries and, you know, do some of our own protecting. But also having a voice for yourself is part of what that is. And that could be part of that unfinished symphony, that if you're not getting the results that you need out of, you know, unfinished projects, maybe it's because you're not letting people know that they need to help you. And then finally, for the end of the week, I have breathe in reversed. And this is saying to me that we're not taking enough time out for ourselves to breathe, to stop and nurture the self. This is saying it's time to get out in nature, to reconnect, to ground ourselves, to embrace what is going on within ourselves. And, you know, take that time out for some deep breathing and meditation and solitude and falling into the flow of the phase that we are in. And interestingly enough, the companion card for that is stuck in the mud. And this is saying when you're trying to make things happen and you're just forcing and forcing and forcing and nothing is going anywhere, you know what? You need to walk away. You need to step out of that space and get into this space. So, you know, I will post more about that on my Facebook page Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The crystals that I'm using this week, the angels have told me we're going to use window clear quartz. And I hate this lighting. The lighting is horrible in here today. Sorry about that. And it keeps coming in and out. And then I'm going to use something that isn't even a crystal. It's a bubble. It's a crystal bubble. And it's so pretty. It really photographs well. It's got rainbow colors and sparkles in it. And this is because I need some magic in my life. I need clarity. I think we all need some clarity about what's going on in the world. And we need some divine magic. So that is what I'm pairing this week. Great news. Mercury went direct today. But remember, we're still in the shadow phase until September 2nd, so we could still have some, you know, wonky communications. I was having a horrible time with my shopping cart checkout button, and a few of you notified me. Since I am having a summer sale, I did reopen the shop. I'm taking a few orders at a time because it is taking me, and it will take me quite a bit of time to you know, get chart orders or e-readings done. If you want, I do have some select dates for live readings. We're doing a 30 for 30 sale, 30 minutes, $30, and that is live. And you can book as many 30-minute slots as you like. I really can only maybe do a couple of those a week. I just don't have the energetic capacity for that. However, yeah, the button wasn't working. It wasn't taking anybody into PayPal. So I feel that that was a Mercury retrograde thing. And I spent 4 hours this morning trying to get that fixed. So hopefully that is working. If it isn't, notify me and I'll see if we can do a modification workaround. Mars will be going direct next week on the 28th. We have a full moon next Sunday, and I think that's the 26th. That'll be a full moon in Pisces, so very, very spiritual. Yesterday, 25-degree Leo sun was definitely a spiritual day. I wound up spending my day in an angelic light weaving healing session with Wendy Harville. And oh boy, I gotta tell you, that was incredible. I just feel so much lighter since that. So let's get on to the topic that I wanted to discuss, and that is all about cycles and seasons and phases. And I'll be right back in just one moment. All right, so let's talk about cycles, seasons, and phases. I have my sticky notes. I always keep this sticky pad around, and I write words that come to me. They're like little messages, little channeled messages that come in, things that I need to bring up and talk about. So when I talk about cycles and seasons and phases, so we know about the seasons, winter, spring, summer, and fall, or autumn, and how our world goes through those seasons. We too, as humans, go through these same cycles as well, but we don't like to think about them, and we often resist these cycles and phases of our lives because we want everything to be great. We want to live in happiness and joy and just, soak in all of those good times. But sometimes we're in an up cycle, or, kind of like a reaping phase where we're harvesting all of the good things that we've sown and planted. And now, we're just in a phase of abundance. There are two times when we go into what is known as an ending phase, destructive phase, an autumn phase, where things are falling away from us. And boy, I have been in this phase since Memorial Day. And I had to stop recently and think and ask myself, I was like, what the is going on? I have had at least one major loss per week, if not more, since Memorial Day. So it's been 12 weeks since Memorial Day, and I can't even count how many major losses I've had. Of course, we all know about my dog. That's really all I've talked about as far as my losses. But I've had losses of friends, family members. My friends have lost their mothers and their fathers and their husbands and their wives and their children and their pets as well, co-workers and lovers and friends, and just I see all of this loss around me. So even if it technically doesn't affect me directly, if a friend of mine loses their lover, it does affect me, because if I love that person and they experience a loss, then to me it's heartbreaking. Last night I lost a friend of mine, and I just sat in bed and wept for hours. And when I woke up, I thought maybe it was a dream, and it wasn't. And this is somebody who was probably one of the most kindest, sweetest, funniest people I have ever known in my entire life. Just such a light to be around that I can't even imagine the world without this person in it. And then a friend of mine tells me that she has lost her third dog in a very, very short period of time. And these losses are so heartbreaking. This is a cycle that we are in. Many of us are in this ending and destructive cycle. Now, the problem is that when we're in this cycle, not everybody's in it with us. I can be compassionate and can relate to all of my friends and my family for all the losses that are around us, because I am in that cycle with them. But what happens when other people that are around us, co-workers or friends, acquaintances, are not in that loss cycle with us? They maybe are in an up cycle. They might be in a sowing or a reaping cycle, and things are going great in their lives, and they just can't even relate to us. And so what happens, I know what's happening for me, is my grief has turned into uncontrollable anger. I know that anger is one of the phases of grief, But I look at people and I want to kill them. Strangers, they look at me. People that I know look at me, and I hate them. I hate everybody right now. I truly do. And I'm trying not to be that way, because I'm not that way. I would give you the shirt off of my back if I could. And if I had to, I would do that. However, there are so many people that do not respect or realize what it is that I'm going through, and people want me to be exactly who I usually am. And it's not happening. Now, during my angelic light weaving session yesterday, the angels that came through, my friend Wendy Harville, who is the angelic light weaver, told me that I need to be in a period of rest. And to me, that is a winter phase, where you're just hibernating and you're hunkering down. So I've had all of these losses. That's the autumn. Now I need to be in this period of rest, and I need to do nothing. I need to do nothing for anybody except myself. However, of course, we all have to work. We do have to do that. And that makes it even harder because, you can't fully be in that period of rest unless you're independently wealthy, which only 1% of the entire world's population is. So there goes that thought. But, these cycles and these seasons that we're in, what makes it even more painful is when we resist them, when we're trying to stop them from happening or occurring or affecting our lives, instead of just leaning back into our higher selves. And I can't get this shirt right, and it's driving me crazy. Okay, that's a little better. Lean back into ourselves and just flow with it. It's like a one step a moment thing. It's a one breath at a time thing. It's a one day at a time thing. And we're only going to come out of it when we are fully rested and ready. The people around us need to realize that we only have the capacity for so much. Now, one huge major loss is enough to completely incapacitate somebody. I don't even know how I am sitting here doing this video. I think maybe because I'm just at the point of Looney Tunes. But, I'm flowing with the situation. I am. The people around me are wanting me to be exactly who I typically am. And I'm going to have to listen to that listen card and start speaking up for myself and letting people know that, you need to back off and give me my space and my time. I did open my shop again. However, I'm only taking select appointments because I only have so much capacity. I really need to nurture myself. I always talk about that, and I think I do, but the angels said yesterday that I don't really nurture myself. And even Chris Witecki, I was listening to a message he had left me back in May before all of this craziness started. He said, because you have so many planets in Gemini, which is the thinker, you think about nurturing all the time, but you don't actually do it. So I have to honor this period of time and listen to all of my guides and mentors and the angels and do that. And I need you to all do that too. If you're also in this destructive phase, this phase of endings, you need to really take the time out and just try and flow with this situation. Now, some of us, there are other phases in our lives that we go through. We go through a student-teacher phase. Sometimes you're the student, sometimes you're the teacher. I think also with this rest period, I need to be the student. I need to soak in as much wisdom as I possibly can. We also, we go through these phases are also roles that we play in our lives, mother, father, sister, friend, daughter, son, brother, these different roles that we take on at different times in our lives. Those are phases as well. Trying to think, all of the thoughts that were in my head when I wanted to talk about cycles and seasons. But anyway, resistance is futile. when you are in certain cycles. Now, this can also happen to you when you're in an up cycle, when you are in a spring or summer season. So much is going on, so much abundance is coming in, and you're reaping that you just don't even have enough hands for all the good stuff that's coming at you. Those are times too that you maybe want to take a step back and give yourself some breaks and rest. That's why I love these retrogrades, because it's almost as if the universe knows that so many of us are in an up cycle, that it kind of gives us a little bit of a break. It gives us time to take a breath and breathe. But the best advice that I can give any of us, for no matter what cycle we are in, is that we always have to flow with it. When you resist what's coming at you, that's when you have a hard time dealing with the situation, and you go crazy, and then you take it out on the people that are around you. So let's see. Expectations and disappointments. All right. So when we are in these different cycles of our lives, especially when they're not meshing and syncing with the cycles of another, and I can mostly think of, your family members, your friends, or your coworkers. These people that could be in a polar opposite cycle than you, they have agendas, they have expectations, and when you don't meet them, they become disappointed. So what I have to say to all of us is, when we're experiencing a polar opposite cycle, life phase, or season than somebody else, somebody that's, directly connected with us in our lives, be compassionate and kind enough to realize that this person doesn't have the same agenda as you. This person may not have the same expectations as you. I think when we set agendas and expectations, especially on other people, whether it be at work, in your family, in your friendships, when we set expectations, we set ourselves up for disappointment. So it's important for all of us to have kindness and compassion. I think a lot of it has to do with awareness, being aware of what is going on in the lives of the people that are around you, so that you can have that compassion and kindness. Now, some people just aren't programmed to be that way, and we have to shut them down. We have to draw the line in the sand and put up that boundary to let some people know that they have crossed the line, or, that we're just not up for the task or their personal agenda. But then that means that we need to exercise our voices and, activate our boundaries so that we can be protected. What I was thinking about today, too, is we come into contact with so many people during the day. You're driving down the road, there's some asshole that cuts you off or pulls out into traffic. You want to curse them out. I get that. I get road rage too on occasion. But you don't know what's going on in that person's life. There might be somebody driving in front of you and they're going too slow for you, and you want to honk at them. Think for a second. Something horrible might be going on in their life. You don't know. Maybe they don't feel safe and confident driving over the speed limit. You know what? Then go around that person. You don't know what is going on in everybody's life, okay? And everybody has something going on in their lives. So just try and be a little bit more aware of the world around us. And it brings me to oneness. Everybody's talking about oneness. And we are all one. We are all connected. And I heard something interesting, and I'm not sure exactly where I heard it from. It could have been on Practical Mystics TV. It could have been on Chris Wittecki's Serious Joy, Namaste Today, talking about oneness and how all this chaos that's going on in the world, especially like in the United States, having Donald Trump in our faces with that whole friggin' mess. We needed that. we all needed this chaos so that we can come together as one and reset our boundaries, reset what it is that we're willing to accept. But also this oneness, as somebody, I think it was Julie Day from Practical Mystics. Or no, maybe it was her partner, Marco Nunez. I can't remember. Anyway, somebody said, we are Donald Trump. And I was like, whoa. When I thought about it, because everything, we're all each other. And what's in you is in me. What you see in me that you hate is also in you. And so when I thought about that, like, we are Donald Trump, I'm like, it just kind of blew my mind. And I can't even think of, I wish I would have written down what the reference was. But this also leads me to the triggers that we have within ourselves. So these triggers about what's going on in the media, what's going on in politics, what's going on in the world, what's going on in the car in front of you that's pissing you off. All of these little things that trigger you in your life, in your daily life, we need to slow down and stop and think about what is triggering you. What is triggering you about that person you see on TV? What is triggering you about the car that's driving in front of you too slowly, or the car that cut you off? What is triggering you about somebody that's near and dear to you, that they're not doing what you're expecting them to do? We need to stop pointing the finger at those other people and realize that that trigger is something within ourselves that we need to work on. So what I'm writing down every single day, because I keep my little sticky pad with me, are the things that trigger me. And then I am taking some time to go in and breathe and explore these triggers. Explore what it is that's pissing me off about this and you and her and he and she and they. Why are these things triggering me? This is how we expand and we grow. When we take this time to actually breathe and think about these triggers and what is really going on. What is the truth about these triggers? What is the truth about all of these different things in our lives that are pissing us off and creating enormous amounts of anger? Let's see. The next thing I wrote down, and I kept hearing this in my head: surrender, Dorothy, kind of like in The Wizard of Oz. And the other day, it was the 79th anniversary of The Wizard of Oz on August 15th. 79 years. Can you believe that? And, you know, that movie is so full of symbolism and signs and different wisdom that you can gather just from watching that. But surrender, Dorothy, is the final parting thought, I think. We need to surrender into everything that's going on around us. And that's kind of part of like just leaning back into our higher selves and going with the flow of what is happening. Self-care, and I think that's all. Oh, the other thing I wanted to bring up, which I find is interesting, and I don't even know if this is even related. I wrote down the need for attention. I have found lately, and more so, is that people's use of social media is a cry for attention. I was going to post something the other day. I was going to post another picture of my dog Sugar because I was missing her horribly, and I was so angry that she's not here, and I was so angry that I couldn't control the situation. And I just wanted to post a picture because I missed her so much. And I thought, you know what, why? I don't want anybody to comment on it. I really don't give a shit what other people are thinking. And so I kept it to myself. And I did tell a couple of my friends about that, like wanting to post, but really not wanting any comments or any kind of feedback. I just wanted to post it for myself. However, this is what triggered me to write down this need for attention thing, because I've noticed that so many people post things as a need for attention, a cry out for attention. And I just feel that it's so sad. Like, you know, what is going on with this world? That we are so dependent upon how many likes we get and how many comments we get. Are we not having real conversations with real people that you have to do this? And I just find myself really getting away from social media and just not even caring. As a matter of fact, I keep my phone turned off most of the time, or on a do not disturb. And I only have four people, no, 3 people listed on my, they can break through my do not disturb at any given time. Because you know what? I don't care anymore. Don't care. I don't care about other people's agendas. I don't care about other people's wants right now other than myself. And then, those 4 people, 3 people, because they are my close family members and one really close friend. But yeah, this constant need for attention, like, me, me. It just shows how empty and unfulfilled and unsatisfied so many people are. And I think this also comes into like the plan of the cycles and the phases, because especially when we're not syncing with other people's phases and we're putting agendas and expectations on other people, because we have this hole and this need that has to be filled. I don't know. I guess I'm just going off on a rant, but I think that's all I have for all of you. And I hope maybe you got something out of this. Whatever cycle, phase, or season that you're currently in, embrace it. Lean back into your higher self. Ask your higher self and your guides and your angels for guidance. That does require a lot of quiet time. It requires, going for walks or going to the gym and working out. That was another message from the angels and my guides, and it came from 2 other people, is that I need to burn off this anger. And I think the only way I'm going to be able to do that is through physical energy. One of my friends told me that my guides were telling her I got to get to the gym. And then yesterday in the angelic light weaving, Wendy was saying that the angels were saying that I need to burn off all of this anger that I have from all of the grief over these past 12 weeks. And it's not even the grief from that. I think I've been harboring and holding this grief even from a past life, and I brought it in. And now it just needs to purge. It needs to come out. But, really lean back into your higher self and ask for the guidance that you personally need. Take the time to rest. Even though Mercury has gone direct today, I think we're still in a bit of a resting period. Mars will go direct next week, which will give us more energy. But I know for me, my angels and my guides have already told me that probably for at least the rest of the year, I'm going to be in a winter or resting phase. And I'm okay with that. I'm good with that. So I know this video is really long, but it makes up for not being on here last week. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to me. You can comment at expressionsoftheuniverse.com. You can comment me on Facebook at Expressions of the Universe. You can comment me on Instagram, and you can always tweet me. There's a lot of ways to get a hold of me. And you can even comment on YouTube. Until next week, peace and blessings. And thank you, as always, for being here. I love you. Have a great week.